What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves. Hi, what's up? What's up? What's up? I am your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and welcome to another great episode of the All Around. We have some interesting things that we are going to talk about tonight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring out my producer, Mr. Wonderful Mark Lee.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing good. As you can tell, I'm over at the Hayti Center. We're getting ready to have African dance class. I think there'll be some play practice going on as well for an outdoor production of Othello. So they're actually going to be producing Othello at several outside locations, I think starting in May and running for a few months. So they're actually doing dress rehearsals and everything like that. And then on Saturday, we had women at work, which is definitely like a celebration of Women's History Month. So we had a lot of women performers, and all along those lines, there was my friend Kimberly McCrae, who is a poet. She goes by Redefining Freedom, and she was doing some poetry work. And then there was the lady that put it on, Andrea Valdez Woods, and all along those lines. And then they had the United String of Colors, which lets you know that even classical music can have some color to it, because there's an all African American ensemble of classical music and all along those lines. So they do some of the traditional classical sounds. And then they had my boss's daughter that has a Krav Maga studio, so she gave them a demonstration of Krav Maga and all along those lines. So we got to be ready to prepare to defend ourselves and all along those lines. It's good to know various martial arts, whether it's Krav Maga or jiu-jitsu or karate or a number of other things, because we know some of these other folks are being out there being slightly crazy. So we might have to either arm up or be prepared in order to have some self-defense if they want to act stupid.
No, we definitely have to have, some self-defense classes and get prepared for what's to come. Starting to go ape shit, ass crazy, batshit crazy. And so we definitely need to arm ourselves and, just be prepared just in case, they try to infiltrate our homes, our businesses, and things like that. Because in Ohio, we've already had an incident where they drove a U-Haul truck with Nazi representatives into a Black community and a Black neighborhood, and they were ran out same Black neighborhood, but at the same time, the police into that community and into the Black neighborhood, saying that they were not doing anything wrong. They had the right to protest, and we had to defend ourselves. So, we have to be prepared in all cases, in all fronts, in all things. So if you're out there listening in digital TV world, make sure you guys are prepared. Make sure you get your concealed to carry. Make sure if someone comes in your house, you take them out. Take them out, because if they survive, they can sue you.
Mm-hmm. That's real true.
You take them out, there are no survivors if someone enters your house. It's sad to say that or whatever, but that's just the God's honest truth. We have to be prepared. We have to protect ourselves, protect our families, protect our homes, and just live accordingly, because we are living in some tumultuous times. Their anger is increasing, is fueling. There has been a lot of gaslighting on the other part. They're trying to blame Americans for what's happening. This is not our fight. This is not our march. We don't have a dog in this hunt. We don't have a gun in this gun show. So we just have to be prepared. We have to stand down, continue to rest, continue to do what we're doing, and continue to make moves in silence, because these people are angry that they voted for this man and that they are the ones that are now being on the receiving end of what he's dishing out, because originally that it wanted to harm us because that's the way that it was presented to them. They got rid of DEI because they thought it was a Black people DEI. White women didn't understand that they were the greatest beneficiary of DEI. White men didn't understand that they were the next greatest beneficiary of DEI. But because they tied it to Black people, they voted against it. Like with everything else, they vote against their own best interest, which ultimately affects some of us in our own best interest. So we definitely have to, start thinking outside of the box. Baseball bats, have weapons on every level of your house. I have a three-story house, so I'm definitely having weapons on every level of the house, because if somebody coming in, they're not leaving out unless they leave it out in a body bag, and I can guarantee you that.
That makes a lot of sense. Not going to go out that way and everything. I know that in the general rule, we are both involved in the Democratic Party and have been for a number of years. But there was a Republican and a Black Republican, ironically, that recently passed away of a disease, and she was a young Black Republican. So
you broke up. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I didn't know if you had any thoughts.
Yes, I can.
U.S. Representative Mia Love of Utah, a daughter of Haitian immigrants, who apparently was the first Black Republican woman elected to Congress, but she died after a long fight with brain cancer, and she had been receiving some immunotherapy as part of a clinical trial at Duke University's Brain Tumor Center, but it does look like she lost her battle. So I didn't know if you had any thoughts around this notion of cancer and cancer survival, because cancer can be a major...
Well, she's a Republican, so I have no sympathy for her. No sympathy for her family. She supports what is happening now. So, normally I would say condolences and, everything out to the family. I have nothing to say towards her family or towards anything that's dealing with her because of her affiliation with the Republican Party and her affiliation with being a Trump supporter and her affiliation with, just believing in that foolishness of what's going on. I mean, because my thing is more up and pointed out that she was a Trump supporter. People don't understand that this is serious. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where people draw the line. People are telling me, oh, you can't, stop talking to me because of politics. Yes, I can. I don't have to deal with you because of your thought process, because you don't think like me. We're not equally yoked. So therefore, I can choose not to deal with you, and I choose the latter, not to deal with you ever in life. So,
yeah, I was gonna say there was another person I think that had been affiliated.
You voted for a person who has overturned Roe versus Wade, which means that I cannot no longer go to the medical doctor and say I want to have an abortion. I can no longer do that. Other women can no longer do that. And even if it's, life-threatening, the doctors have to basically beg and plead and prove that it's life-threatening in order for a woman to have an abortion. So you supported that. You supported veterans being cut of their benefits. You supported people with disabilities with now in the executive order, Mark, they can only earn minimum wage. They cannot earn no more than minimum wage. So you supported discriminatory practices. So therefore, I cannot deal with you because I do not believe like that. I do not support those things. And I stand on business. And what I've been getting pretty much all day is, oh, you have a victimhood mentality. What's a victimhood mentality? Because I'm standing up for people. I've never done any of that stuff. Well, I take that back. I lived on housing when I was in college or whatever, because I was in college because I didn't want to pay rent. But other than that, as an adult who is a working adult, contributing to taxes and things, I've never done any of that stuff. I've never received, food stamps. I've never done any of that. So, even now my salary is considered, higher to upper middle class based off of, where I live, what I make, and what I bring, for me to align myself with you and you think like that, that's a problem for me, because I can't live with myself knowing that you support the very man who has taken certain rights away from me, the very man who has been a racist all his life. The Department of Justice has sued him countless of times, over and over and over and over again. And you expect me to deal with you, and you align yourself not going to deal with you, and I'm, God gave us a brain. He always say use your discernment. I'm using my discernment. I'm using my brain. I'm not going that route. I'm not dealing with folks that has, openly supported this man. I even had words with a lady in one of the groups that I belong to. She was like, boasting. She was a foreigner, Muslim lady, boasting about she voted for Trump in both elections. Well, every time he ran, she voted for Trump, and she stand on her business. But my thing is, if you voted for Trump, why are you trying to panhandle, and why are you trying to pander to get Black women to support you? No, you don't get it both ways. You don't say that you have voted for this man and you support everything that he stands on, and you are in a Black woman group trying to get Black women to support and follow you. No, because I'm gonna let it be known. Every time I see your name pop up in a group, I'm gonna let it be known that you are a Trump supporter. Like, why are you stalking me? Bro, I was already a member of this group when you joined this group. So please understand, any group that I am a member of that you think that you're going to join, and you think that you're going to get Black women to support and vote for you and follow you, I'm going to put it out there that you are a hard down Trump supporter, and you don't believe what the culture believes, and you don't stand with the culture. Mark?
Yep. Well, really quickly, there's another person that I think had some background with the Republican Party as well, but you can correct me if
I can't hear you.
wrong. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You hear me now? Well, the thing I was saying is there was another person that I think had some ties to the Republican Party. I know he had a bunch of sons named George and everything, but did you have any thoughts around the passing of George Foreman? And am I correct in thinking that he used to be a Republican as well? That I couldn't remember.
Actually, all of them were Republicans. I mean, I can't even deny the fact that people were Republican back in the day, and he probably died a Republican. People go Republican anyway because of the tax breaks and the loopholes that they give to them when they're a part of, that 1%, 2%, 5%, and things like that. I don't really have anything to say towards him. I just know he named all his children George, all his boys George. So all of them were George, this, George, whatever. And he was a boxer and, stuff like that. So I really don't have any commentary towards him. Like I said, it is what it is.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. And
Mark, the other thing is, with them saying that, the Democrats has done what the Republicans are doing. I mean, if we look back in history, historically, both parties have screwed over the culture. Both parties have screwed over the Black race. So where we are is we're with the party that best aligns with us in what we believe and where we stand. Yep, when Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation back in 1863, 1865, most enslaved people who were freed at that time went with the Republican Party. They were the party of Lincoln. But this Republican Party, the GOP, the Grand Old Party, is not the Republican Party of Lincoln. This is the Republican Party of Donald Trump. So anybody who is signing on and aligning with this particular Republican Party, we have problems with you. Mm-hmm. So yes, I do have a problem with.
Yeah, speaking of problems and all along those lines, there was a major fire in California. There was a major fire in California and the Eden fire, but the Altadena residents, which is one of our communities, definitely got hit as well. But now they're fighting to keep out luxury developers because, once we have any disaster, a lot of times people try to exploit the disaster and to bring in some high rent and some high cost kind of factors and everything. So I just wanted your take on that because definitely Altadena is a predominantly African-American part of the community in Eden, but they're now fighting because they don't want those luxury developers to come in there and.
Well, the thing about it is, the thing about it is they just have to stand firm and, do what they need to do in terms of, with the insurance company, because the same thing happened with Hawaii. They tried to go in and scoop up and buy the beachfront property from the natives and, the people that were already there. So it wouldn't even surprise me if somebody didn't set that community on fire because they have done, things in the past to all Black communities. Take Rosewood for Black man, and they burned down the whole Rosewood community and drove, Black people out of their homes, killed Black people for just existing in that area, all because the white woman lied. So again, I don't have, I honestly don't think that I wouldn't put it past them to say that somebody actually set that fire to that particular community. Because think about it, out of all the wildfires that community in particular has never been hit by a wildfire. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come back days, months, weeks later, years, and say that it was the fire was set by someone trying to target that community and trying to get that property.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit either, and everything along those lines. So I would not be surprised if that was the case and everything like that. I did have a question to you because I did see another interesting article and all along those lines, and it's a popular topic and all in that way.
I heard article.
Everything. Yep. Did you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Okay. I just got a question because there's an article that came out recently. It came out like in a weekend. So it's something that we've known for a while, but it's one of your take on it. But there's a report that came out on NBC News that found that synthetic hair marketed to Black women are containing carcinogens and lead in it and everything. So we do know that sometimes the Asians and other people that are promoting this stuff are not caring about our health and everything. So I just wanted your take on that particular report because they're saying that ingredients that can cause cancer were found.
Well, we already know that they don't care about.
Yep.
Yeah, so we already know that these particular subgroup of people do not care about, Black people and their health in the Black community. They're there for one reason only, and that is to make money, and that is to drive that price in those products up in the Black community. We already know that. But what I say to the Black community who are going in and supporting these businesses, go and shop around. Not businesses doesn't sell synthetic hair and things like that, but you'll get a better product from a Black-owned business and someone who would actually funnel the money back into the Black community, because we're not getting that money from them funneled back into the Black community. They were just talking about that today on the radio, where these foreigners are giving money to open businesses in the Black community, but Black people are not giving money to open businesses in the Black community. The ones who have hair care stores, beauty supply marts and things like that, they're giving money to support their businesses. They rarely hire outside of their family. Their family works in the business, so they're keeping all that money, and they're making they said like a $375,000 to $450,000 profit off of people in the Black community. So it's no surprise there. So my thing too also is, if you're going to research what these products have in them and the damages that it can cause. I mean, I do wear tracks. I have tracks in my hair along with my hair, but I do not wear synthetic hair. I get real human hair. It costs more, but I don't have the problems that the other people who are having, who has purchased, plastic synthetic hair with the lead and, all of that stuff. Because Black women there are a lot of TikToks out there that are actually discussing these things.
Yeah. Speaking of things that people
not to purchase this, not purchase that, look for this product and look for that product. So we are attacking that notion that you brought up.
Yeah, and speaking of things that people are attacking, there's something that they are acting like it's new to the African American community, or like it's being rebirthed in the African American community. But I have known of line dancing being going on for a while. But there's some articles I've been reading saying country line dancing is making a comeback in the Black communities. How are you making a comeback?
First of all, it wasn't. Let me just. Country line dancing in the Black community. We line dance. We didn't country line dance. So that's where the distinction need to be drawn, and the line is split down to two. No, y'all still have country line dancing. What you do is, if you take boots on the ground, where them fans at, they have already taken that and watered it down to a version of our dance to fit their needs. So no, it's not a country line dancing is coming back. We have always done line dancing, and it wasn't country. It was nothing country about community. Y'all have y'all little line dancing, y'all little country western, your little do-si-do and all that stuff. But the Black community has always had line dances. We've been having line dances since forever. But since you guys have started paying attention and copying, like y'all always do, copy and steal Black people dances and Black people moves, now y'all want to say, oh, it's coming back. No, it never left. It has always been in the Black community. We have been doing the electric slide. So please understand, the electric slide was out before we were even born. And I'm 50 now, so I know that when I was a child, I was doing the electric slide. My mom did the electric slide. Grandparents did the electric slide. So we've been having line dancing and we've been doing this stuff, but because y'all are, jumping on the bandwagon and trying to copy and emulate our dances, now they're saying that, line dances, country western line dances are the country western line dance. Please stand. Our line dances are a little bit more sophisticated because we've already seen the TikTok videos where y'all threw the mayonnaise in and y'all can't hold a beat, and y'all trying to do the line dance and y'all had to drop it down a couple of notches. So we've already seen that. So no, our line dances were not a part of the country western, has never been a part of the country western. We made it our own. We made it black country, not white country, because there is a difference. Yeah, no, it never left, Mark. It has always been a part of our community. It has always been a part of Black people culture. Like I said, what's the one iconic dance that I just mentioned? The electric slide.
The electric slide.
They play the electric slide everywhere. The electric slide.
That's very iconic. Is a couple of the cha-chas and all along those.
Well, the cha-cha I wouldn't consider cha-cha iconic, because the simple fact is childhood. We grew up on the electric slide. Our parents grew up on the electric slide. Their parents grew up on the electric slide. The cha-cha became popular in the late 90s. So it is not an iconic dance like the electric slide. There are multi versions of the electric slide. There are multi versions of that song, the electric slide. There's multi versions of the dance, the electric slide. So that is the iconic signature dance for the Black community that sparked the line dancing. So with these country line dancing is coming back, baby, we never did your country line dancing. Please understand, when we have country western or when we have trail rides, we did our version. We did the black person version. We did the ones that's on beat, where we danced and we grooved and things like that. We didn't do the mayonnaise version where you had to change the steps and water it down so that y'all can understand the dance. And we've already seen on TikTok how y'all screwed up the Kendrick Lamar challenge, how y'all them fans that, and y'all changed it to the mayonnaise version. And then we had to come back and season it up and show y'all how it's done. Yes.
Well, speaking of which, there's an event that's going to show the impact of the African-American culture on country music. It's called the Biscos and Banjos Festival. It'll be taking place here in Durham on April 25th through the 27th. So Rihanna Giddens, who is one of the members of the Carolina Chocolate Drops, as well as Reese Palmer, who is an African-American sister that's been into country music for a while, they will be part of this festival. It'll definitely be a celebration of country music and folk music, but it'll also celebrate our role in it. I think Taj Mahal might be involved, and their legendary Ingramettes and a number of others will be here as well. And we've got an event on Mother's Day that involves a form of music that is near and dear to your area. So in the Mother's Day weekend, well, actually before Mother's Day, I think like 2 weeks before, on the 10th of May in Raleigh, there'll be a concert featuring Trouble Funk, Belladonna, as well as a band that celebrates the music of the legendary Frankie Beverly, who passed away last year and everything. So I just want to take that of the celebration of go-go. So definitely there'll be a celebration of go-go music, but also a celebration of Frankie Beverly as well. So yeah, that concert will be taking place on May 10th, and I just know that is the big DC sound. So what is your take on that form of music?
Well, it is the big DC sound. I cannot deny that. That has been played since I've been here, since before I've been here, and they are continuing to play it. I do listen to a little go-go at some of the local spots here in DC. I've seen Backyard perform at some of the local spots, and go-go is very, very, very dominant here in the city. And I don't know, Mark, if you remember a few years ago, they were trying to get the Metro phone company shut down over by Howard University because the white people who moved into the community over there said that it was chaotic and it was causing, mayhem and things like that or whatever because of the music that was playing, and they particularly and support the community, but that kind of backfired on them or whatever. And then they were trying to start a petition talking about they need to move the university. No, you need to move away from the university. That's what you need to do. But yeah, go-go is definitely a big thing in DC. So yes, but I thought when you were saying that it was particularly germane to me, I thought excuse me, I apologize, I thought that you were talking about Zydeco. Jermaine to me from Louisiana, not Jermaine to me from.
I was going to DC, that Jermaine to you, but no, Zydeco is much more.
So I thought you were meaning Zydeco.
Yeah. And there's a big Zydeco following
blues and jazz.
Yeah. And there's a big Zydeco following here as well. There's even a Zydeco society here in the Triangle. So yeah, Zydeco has a tremendous following here in this area and everything like that. I did have a question about you about the programs to get Black college enrollment up, because I know that you're in the education space, and apparently there have been a couple of stories where they're trying to initiate the programs to maybe try to get our enrollment up, because we do know that the enrollments have been coming down and everything. So definitely it says that enrollment and retention rates are down for Black men at our historically Black colleges and universities, but there is efforts that are out there and they've been launched to try to reverse this downward trend. There have even been some people connected to North Carolina A&T. So what can we do to reverse this downward trend of retention, particularly for our African-American men, even at our own schools?
So what we need to do is we need to, get the word out, because a lot of the to say, but these children, I know in this area, a lot of them, if they did not have a parent that attended an HBCU or somebody who attended and graduated from each HBCU, they're not exposed to that particular information. And depending on where they're at school, the counselors may not expose them to that, information. So if they do not have a counselor who is Black in particular, they probably will not get that exposure. So my thing is to reach out to the schools to see if you can go to their college days and, to the class sponsors to start incorporating that information in their rollout to the students. I know when I was a senior class sponsor, I purposely put out information that yielded to HBCU scholarships. I get a lot of emails from the sororities and the fraternities about events that they're hosting for the children. So I put that out there along with our counselors at the school that I'm affiliated with. And so they're getting in multiple ways, from our AVID coordinator to, myself, and I'm over SGA now. So I'm still giving them information about scholarships at HBCUs. I'm giving them information about programs such as free SAT classes at the HBCUs. I know the Kappas always email me with information about that. So I just posted some information in my Canvas classroom for SAT prep and ACT prep. So they just the colleges have to start reaching out to these high schools so that they can get more involved in the process of going to talk to the seniors. Because I know the PWIs are pretty good about, sending out information, sending out paraphernalia, sending out mailers to the seniors. So our HBCUs need to step it up a notch and build a relationship with someone who is at the school, so they have
that makes a lot of sense.
With helping the students with their selection process with the college that they determine that they want to go to. And also a lot of the children are looking at colleges based off of how much money that they're going to be offered. So a lot of the enrollment may be down because the children are just receiving more money from other universities. So we need to work with scholarships and other means of financial aid and other means of money to, to offset the cost of them going to those particular colleges and things like that. So we have to, like brainstorm, put our heads together. And like I said, we have to work together with the people at the colleges. And just for me speaking personally, I think that the HBCUs definitely need to reach out to someone who works at the at the high school level, so that they have an inside person, so that they can get the information.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We had talked about it before on the show and everything, but what is your take on this notion of dismantling the Department of Education? Because that's one of the things that the crazy Republicans are coming up with and everything. So what is your take on that, as well as your take on the privatization of the post office? Because they're saying they want the post office to be run by private entities, but definitely they're talking about dismantling the Department of Education altogether. So Dr. Anthony, what is your take on both of those?
Well, let's start with the post office first. Well, the mail system is already jacked up because they have a Republican that is running it. So then over the mail system has definitely been jacked up. So if they privatize it, I think that's going to be the downfall of the mail system. So I'm looking forward to seeing, how this is going to play out, because everything that they privatize has failed. Let's take Texas, for example, with their electricity. Their electricity is privatized. They're not on the national grid. So when they receive those exorbitant amount of electric bills, and when their lights go off and talking about, anything, President Biden is not doing anything, they can't do anything. Blame your governor, because he privatized your electricity. That's why your electric bills cannot be controlled. And that's why the federal government has no say, because your governor, who's in that wheelchair right now, who is voting against DEI, who actually, benefits from DEI programs because he's in a wheelchair and they put ramps outside so he can go up or whatever. He was the main one that privatized that. So I think it's going to be a downfall for the mail system if it goes into the private entities of these white Republicans. Now, as far as the Department of Education is concerned, that's a whole different beast. So the Department of Education is an oversight entity. So basically what it does is it monitors what goes on at the state level with the schools, and it holds the state level accountable. So when, for example, your child is a special needs child, and your child has certain services that has to be delivered to them every day, every week, every month, every year, as long as they are in the public ed. So what the Department of Ed does is it makes sure that your child 504 plan or IEP plan is implemented and is holding everybody at the state level accountable. So we've already seen what happens at the state level. There's none, to a certain degree. We've already seen what happens at the state level when it comes to funding. All of the funding is funneled to the white school districts with the white children and in the upper epsilon, and the black kids in the lower kids in the low socioeconomic status receive low funding. So we've already seen that is pretty much like the Robin Hood tax. So what's going to actually happen is a lot of oversight, because the states wasn't handling it in the first place. So that's why the Department of Ed was created. So it's going to affect Title I schools, and a Title I school is poor and reduced free lunch. They call it farm. So it's going to affect that. It's going to affect the programs. It's also going to affect Title IX. It's going to affect a lot of programs that these schools were receiving funding for. So the states, once it goes in the hands of the states, where that money goes. So again, a lot of the schools that are in poor economics, areas will receive less funding, and all of the other kids will receive, the correct funding. Because I want to say DC receives around $23,000 per pupil. That means $23,000 per child. And I was talking about this with a friend of mine. So that $23,000, if they decide that they want to go to a private school or a public, dollars goes with that child to the public charter school. But the problem is when that child is kicked out of that public charter school or that private school, the money does not come back to public education. They keep the money. So they keep the child there long enough to acquire the money. And then once the money is, acquired, they'll kick the child out based off of their rules, their policies, and their procedures, saying that the child broke the rules, the policies, and procedures. And this is a residual cycle that we see consistently in public ed. So it's not that we cannot not educate them, but we're using a reduced budget now because the money that was allocated to them went to the first school that they decided that they wanted to go to. And when they were put out of that particular school, then they come back over into public ed. So the only thing is, it's going to create a lot of chaos. To me, it's going to create a lot of chaos. But when these folks when these white folks realize that these children that they had with their uncles, their brothers and their grandfathers and, their daddies and all that, who had special needs, autism and all that is hereditary, that they're not going to be receiving those checks and they're not going to be receiving those services, it'll go back. It'll revert back to, we have an oversight of the Department of Ed and things like that, because it's about him trying to stifle Black people because he thinks that, with him getting rid of the Department of Ed is going to hurt us. But we as Black women are the most educated group in the nation. So what we will do is, and we will make sure our children are educated and take it to the next level. And not only that, we have parents that are able to homeschool and teach their child, without any assistance. So I don't feel, that the Black community will suffer. Some will suffer in the rural areas where, the oversight has been omitted from the Department of Ed. But as far as, in other areas, I don't think it's going to be as bad. But again, when they realize that this got it to them and their children, especially the free and reduced lunch program where, the kids are eating for free, because some schools are 100% in Title I, and all of their children eat for free because they just can't pay for the food. So once they realize that these benefits and these services are no longer going to be, and that their children are not receiving these services, I think the uproar is going to come, and we will go back to having the Department of Ed.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. We got some good news.
They tried to get rid of the Department of Education. Yes, and people got to understand this is a calculated move. They don't want you to go to college. They don't want you to have higher education. And I tell people this all the time. And the reason that they don't want people to go to college is because they want a dumb workforce. So with the dumb workforce and people who have no skills and who has no education, they can pay you less. And we've already seen it with, people with disabilities, where people who have disabilities cannot earn over minimum wage. So they are strategically trying to calculate and put it out there where they want a dumb society and a dumb nation, because they know that without education and without knowledge, that they basically control the base like they did. Because a lot of the propaganda that was put out there was fear mongering about Black people. And who do you fear monger with? Poor white trash of white that feel like that they're better than Black people, not understanding that their situation is actually worse than Black people, but because they were convinced that they are better than the culture, that they're going to vote against their own best interest because they think it is harming us. Like they voted against DEI and other policies and things like that, because they tied it to Black people. They likened it to us, so they voted against it. Universal health care, they didn't want Black people purposely trying to kill us off. They don't want us to have free education because they don't want us to be educated, but we're educated anyway. So all of this stuff is to harm Black people, but they don't. But what they fail to realize is you were going to get caught up in that same foolishness. Michelle Obama said it best. She said at some point, Donald Trump ugliness is going to touch all of our lives. And what is it doing? Touching all of our lives. So when they understand that they're a part of that process, revert back. We can take, what's happening with Tesla. Tesla has lost $900 billion since Elon Musk started dibbling and dabbling into politics. So my thing to them is, what did they think was going to happen? You over here, so-called claiming that you are a part of Doge, the government and things like that. You're taking people jobs. You're hurting people's livelihoods. What did you think was going to happen? Trump is over there supporting and giving brand deals at the White House, saying, telling people hard. What you fail to realize is your base cannot buy eggs. Right. So how are they going to buy a Tesla? Let's just be real. Let's just call a spade, Mark. They're talking about, egg prices. They're talking about gas prices. They're talking about the high rate of food. They're talking about all this stuff. So how is it that they can't afford this, but you want them to go out and buy $100,000 car?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It's not there. So this makes sense. So again, people not understanding how important education is, how important reading is, how important knowing the laws, how important knowing that your vote matters, your vote counts. But they don't understand that because, again, like I said, they have convinced the poorest of the poor that they are better than Black people. So they will always support voting against their own best interests because they think that it's going to harm Black people.
Yeah. Well, on a different note, and everything, but I know one note. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Said on a different note, and this is a note that I think you'll be interested in and everything. There are certain ailments, certain diseases that impact our society more than other societies. But apparently, a New York University Long Island man is the first person in New York history to be cured of sickle cell anemia. So this 21-year-old went through gene therapy treatment, and it looks like he has been cured. So this could be a major development in terms of that ailment for society, because definitely it is something that impacts our society. They said it impacts over 100,000 people in the U.S., and it is an inherited blood condition that affects the shape of the red blood cell and all along those lines. But they did say that this therapy does look like it's working. So who knows, we may have actually found a cure to something that can actually be beneficial to many people, because I know that there's been efforts to work on sickle cell for a while and all along those lines. But they did say that this is a major development, and this young man has said that he hasn't seen any side effects as of yet and everything. But I just wanted your take on this notion of a possible cure for sickle cell based on this young man's history. And of course, he's still working on and doing other things to help himself in his road to recovery. But it does look like this treatment is working.
Well, the treatment hasn't been an issue because they have said that they have cured people of sickle cell before this case in New York. But the issue is this sitting president has cut the funding for medical research instead. And when you have an idiot in office who doesn't understand the benefits of researching for medical practices and how it benefits the society as a whole, you have budget cuts like he has done. He has cut John Hopkins' budget, all these research hospital budgets. He has cut all those budgets pretty much almost down to nothing. And so that is going to affect the medical community for years to come. Not only that, even with the vaccines, on people every year, every day, all the time. And what was eradicated that's coming back? Measles.
Yep.
Polio. Remember we had a polio scare not long ago. So all of that stuff plays. It attributes to us in how we live and how we function. The research is necessary. The research is needed for the treatments that, people are receiving. Because if that stem cell research wasn't done prior to this young man known that, he could have possibly been cured based off of stem cell research. But, a lot of people don't want to get the stem cells because they're saying that it's a live organism, but they harvest the stem cells from, deceased, well, not really deceased organism, but deceased material that can no longer be, used and things. So, when you have people in office that clearly do not understand the necessity behind medical research and how it is, then we're going to have cases like we had in Texas, where they had 329 cases of measles break out and people die from the disease because of lack of knowledge and because of lack of ignorance. So, I mean, we have an idiot in office. So what can you expect? We just have to deal with what's been given. And the only thing that is going to be our saving grace is we have less than a year and a half before the midterm elections.
Speaking of that idiot in office,
everybody needs to go out and vote blue and make sure that we get these Democrats in these seats, and make sure that we get these Republicans out of those seats so we can have some control.
Yeah, got to get back to control and everything like that. And by the way, it does look like Target has seen a decline in their stocks after that strike that was launched by that Atlanta minister. So they are definitely being impacted. So we can also impact through our bottom dollar and all along those lines. But I'm also trying to figure out, because apparently some folks, including some that were on the Republican side, are being removed from history.
I can't hear you.
I said apparently some of the things that were even on the Republican side are being removed from history. I know that I heard recently that they had taken out some references to Medgar Evers, but they'd also taken out references to Colin Powell in the Arlington National Cemetery and some of the other places. So it also seems like they're trying to strip us of our own history and everything by not even allowing historical icons to have their own moment in the sun. So I just wanted your take on this.
That they're definitely came out of Florida. DeSantis was saying that Black history could not be taught, AP Black history could not be taught, and things like that. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Because the problem is, Mark, remember, we're only like 40, 50 years into Black people actually being able to do what we do now. So a lot of the problem is they don't want their mamas and their daddies and their grandparents pictures to be recognized in those history books when we teach our history, because it's 60, 70 years in. How old is Ruby Bridges? And she's still alive. And when she went to school, schools were segregated and they tried to kill her as a child. Right. So, because my thing is, white people are quick to say that our children are too young to read about it, but our children wasn't too young to experience it. Exactly. To go through it, to live it. And Ruby Bridges is a lived experience. She is a live person today that's being in a segregated school. That was not that long ago. So, everything is for a reason. They want to keep Black people ignorant of their culture, which we are not ignorant of our culture, because we have Black historians, we have Black storytellers, we have Black books, and where we can get our information from. But it's the problem with, disseminating that information to other people. That's where the issue comes in at. Just for example, let's take the election for example. Now all the white people who voted, they didn't understand, they didn't know, nobody told them, which that's a lie, because Mark, you and I discussed it on this show. I discussed it on my personal Facebook. I discussed it on my personal TikTok, and other content creators discussed it. So the information was out there. They just chose not to listen to the information. They chose not to read upon the information. They chose not to research the information, because we talked about Project 2025 here on this show, Mark. You even read some excerpts from Project 2025.
Yep.
Along with Project 2025. Oh, Donald Trump says that he's not affiliated with the Project 2025. Oh, Donald Trump says that he has nothing to do with Project 2025. Oh, Donald Trump says that this, Donald Trump says that. And what was the first thing that he started doing? He started working out of that manifesto from Project 2025. Yeah. So everything that we're experiencing now is from Project 2025. So, my thing is, don't try to act like you had no role in this, because you did have a role in it. A significant part in us dealing with the foolishness that we're dealing with now. So please don't act like, oh, I didn't know, and I was unaware, and I wish I could change my vote. You already know that you cannot go back and change your vote. You already know what we told you. You already know what we discussed, and you chose to vote against it. He clearly said that he was going to go after women reproductive rights. They overturned Roe versus Wade. He clearly said that he was going to go after the Department, that he was going to, transport, get the illegal aliens, so he claimed out of here. So everything that this man promised on that campaign trail, this man is doing. He clearly said that he was going to go after people who voted against him and who went against him, which is not what a sitting president and representative of the United States as a culture as a whole is supposed to be doing. But these white folks are allowing this to happen, and they're trying to get him in for a third term.
Yep.
People are not going to stand by and allow it to happen, because the Republican senators and congressmen have been told not to attend the town hall meetings in their locations with their constituents and things like that or whatever. So the constituents are mad. But guess what? You're there now, but when the voting process takes place, you won't be there, because the midterm elections is going to be the tale that tells the tale. And we're going to vote in those midterm elections to make sure that they're not.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. There's a major historical figure that some folks are learning about because of some of the displays and all along those lines, because apparently there is a artist, a gentleman by the name of Alvin Petit, I think it's pronounced, and everything, but he has got a sculpture of Harriet Tubman called A Higher Power, the Call of Freedom Fighters, that won the design contest for a Tubman statue to be erected outside Philadelphia City Hall, and it was unveiled recently and everything. So for those who don't know about the amazing Harriet Tubman, who was an abolitionist, humanitarian, and leader of the Underground Railroad, which may have helped free more than 100,000 people during the antebellum period, and who definitely didn't take any BS and everything. What is your take on the famous Harriet Tubman, as we get ready to get out of here shortly? But I just thought I'd end it on maybe a historical note. So what is your take on the famous historical figure Harriet Tubman? And she definitely had some ties to Maryland as well, because Aramata Ross, that's Harriet Tubman's real name, was born in Dorchester County, Maryland around 1820. She later adopted her mother's first name, Harriet, when she was around 5 years old, and Tubman was forced to work as a nursemaid and later as a field hand, cook, and a woodcutter. So she had 8 brothers and sisters, and slavery kept many of them apart. But I just wanted your take on the amazing work that Harriet Tubman did when she was living.
Well, Harriet Tubman, like you said, was an amazing woman, amazing historical figure. She is turning over in a goddamn grave right about now, based off of, the people and how they have went against, the 8% of women that voted and sided with Trump. And then the men, from the, 84% of black, 16% of black men that sided with Trump. So she is definitely turning over in her grave. Those people are the ones that she would have killed and left behind, because they would have went back telling Massa, they running Massa. We got to go. We got to go get them, boss. We got to go get them, boss. So, she is definitely turning over in her grave. This is not what she fought for. This is not what his brother fought for. This is not what Emmett Till died for. This is not what any of our historical figures fought for and things like that. Marcus Garvey. This is not that. This is not that. So she is definitely turning over in her grave. She is definitely, looking down upon, all these folks with disappointment in her eyes and disappointment in her heart, because these people are clearly clueless, because they think that proximity greatness. And the proximity of whiteness does not mean greatness. Look at how when we were thriving and surviving in a black owned community, how we thrived and how we were better off before the integration process came along. You know, because he has already implemented segregation at the federal level. But honestly, Mark, I don't think this segregation thing is going to go as they plan. I don't think it's going to work like they think it's going to work, because we don't give a rat's ass about being segregated. Go ahead and post those white only signs so that.
Yep.
Because y'all haven't learned from Target, Walmart, and Tesla. Y'all haven't learned yet that the black dollar is a mighty powerful black dollar. So yes, Harriet Tubman would definitely be disappointed with the 8% and the 16% of Negroes who are pandering to white people and who are doing what they're doing to try to keep that close proximity to them, thinking that it's going to benefit them in the long run.
Yeah, she would definitely be disappointed in that. And, you know, one of the things we have on one of these walls here is that back in the day, you literally could get a mattress made by a African-American man and all along those lines. So you didn't actually have to go to Serta or whatever some of the other mattress companies are. You didn't even have to go to MyPillow, which is run by a Republican conservative and everything. You could actually go to somebody in our community that was actually able to make those things, including the mattress, including the bricks, because Fitzgerald had a whole style of bricks that was well known, and is having a Fitzgerald brick or a house made with Fitzgerald bricks was considered a elite activity and everything. But that was an African American brick mason from right here in the Carolinas, if I remember correctly. It might have been in Virginia as well, but definitely was here. So, but I just love that quote because I think it was W.E.B. Du Bois that talks about that you could literally go to a hospital that was black owned and go to pass away and have your body taken care of by a funeral home that was black owned, but you could also during your life even lay in a mattress that was black owned, made by a black man, and you could also even have some suits made by a brother or a sister as well. So a lot of that we are missing in this day and time.
Yes. So, you know, I thank you for your insight, Mark. And with the parting words, I want to tell people to continue to keep your foot on Elon Musk's neck, continue to keep your foot on Target, continue to keep your foot on Walmart. And I'm not talking about places where, you know, you only have a Walmart and you only have a Target. I'm talking about metropolitan areas like DC, Dallas, Houston, Baltimore, where we have options.
Yep.
On businesses. Make sure you seek out black-owned farmers. Make sure you seek out everything that you need from black-owned. And if you haven't downloaded the Spaces app, please go ahead and download the Spaces app. The Now is there. Shop the Hood. You can it's shoptheneighborhood.com. And all of this has black-owned businesses, black-owned banks, from everything that you can think of. And a lot of them have, you know, online services that you can order from: toilet paper, tissue, washing powder, toothpaste. Everything that you can think of is need them, have to support them. We can support our own, but continue to keep your foot on their necks. They are feeling the pressure. They are feeling the pressure. Let's continue to weaponize these black dollars, and let's continue to do what we do. And you know what? And with that being said, make sure you click like and share. And the clock on the wall says that's all. And we will see you guys on the following Monday.
Sounds good. We'll see them next Monday with another exciting conversation. But right now, like Dr. Anthony said, it's time to get on out of here. So we're going to get on out of here with that same video that got us on in here.
Deuces, my loves. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.